Many thanks for choosing us. Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold Hassan has expressed worry at the rate children between 9 and 12 years keep getting pregnant in the Central region. She says it is uncomfortable to see girls who are below their teenage age already mothers. Speaking at a stakeholder dialogue on teenage pregnancy with Queen mothers in the Central region, the minister called for increased efforts in dealing with the challenge. Richard Kwejanyako has more.
Today, when we looked at the statistics from the health directorates, we realized that we've been living 10 point something. So we are going down, and we have so many interventions running and some other NGOs who are supporting us. And as they are supporting, putting in monies and all of that, then as leaders of the region, we needed to also step up our game and then speak to leaders in the region, especially Queen mothers, and then some individuals to also come on board so that together we'll be able to eradicate, if not put it to the barest minimum.
Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold Hassan bemoaning the teenage pregnancy statistics across the country. She expressed her sadness about the age of the girls that are now getting pregnant.
From the Education Directorate, looking at the figures that she was putting out, it was alarming. Yes. At a point, I saw that somebody was a 9-year-old girl already having a child. Quite alarming, so serious. And personally, I don't know, but I will not be happy to see my girl child at a night. Oh, please. It's too much that when you hear some of these things coming, it gets you worried, and you should sit up and look out for anything that you can do to solve this problem. So yes, targets we've given to various departments to work on, but critically we are going to help the Queen mothers, at least support them with something small. In terms of, they would have to go and visit some community members. They need to talk to people. They will need fuel. They will need to give them water and other things. So that is one area that we really want to champion.
In 2020, the Central Region alone recorded over 10,000 teenage pregnancies. And this has got many in the region worried. The Central Regional Minister is charging Queen mothers to rise up and change the narrative. Paramount Queen Mother of Mankesim, Nanamba Emisa, who spoke on behalf of the Queen Mothers, indicated the traditional authorities have a role to play in changing the current happenings, and they would rise to the occasion.
Now, Minister na samide opede na breeding teenage pregnancy wo Central Region or Bafum. Now, what Bafum sumpo ye the third position. The third position.
The minister wants the teenage pregnancy numbers to reduce. It has even gone down. We are now in the third position in the whole country. Even with the third position, it is not good for the region. The Queen mothers have played a role in ensuring the reduction in the numbers.
No, ye need to my hand. Ye crew, ye cool schools. When
the numbers were high, we had to visit the schools and homes to talk to them and all that. Broken homes, parental neglect account for a whole lot. We will do more about this to ensure a further reduction. The stakeholders, including the Ghana Education Service, the Ghana Health Service, were unanimous in their resolve to help keep the girls in school than allowing pregnancy to curtail their dreams. Reporting for JoyNews, Richard Kwejanyako, Cape Coast.
Gender Director in the Central Region, Rich Love Amamo, joins us for more. I'm grateful for your time, Ms. Amamo. Why are children in your area getting pregnant? Hello, Rich Love.
Hello.
Yes, I'm finding out from you, why are the teenagers in your area getting pregnant?
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone listening to us or watching us at this moment. Well, with the Central Region, we have an issue here, and it's a very big issue that we have in the Central Region. Teenagers get pregnant because of some things parents are doing in the region. One is parental neglect, and the other thing I talk about is cohabitation or child marriage. they are the major factors of teenage pregnancy in the central region. I think when parents share their responsibilities, the children also find means of surviving. So that is when the children move in to live with their boyfriend. So when a girl is living with a man or a girl is living with a boyfriend, the boyfriend definitely will have a sexual intercourse. And that is what brings about the high rate of teenage pregnancy in the region. It's one of the problems. So these are some of the issues we are going through. And a lot of girls, most of the girls in the region are living with their boyfriends. And later they get pregnant. And then when they go to antenatal, that is what is recorded. Because they are teenagers, when they go to antenatal, it's recorded as teenage pregnancy. So at the end of the year, Ghana Health Service will put all this data together and bring it out. And we as a department, we are also doing our best in the region through sensitization programs, going to the communities. We have clubs in most of the communities in the central region, speaking to parents. We have parents clubs. We have clubs for the adolescent girls. We have clubs for men and boys, and trying to combat adolescent pregnancy in the region.
How do you intend to deal with this situation, because it's actually worrying?
Yes, I know that we all know that situation hampers development. So what the department is doing is we've put measures in place. I told you we were able to establish clubs in the community level. So we have clubs for parents. So those clubs, what we do is to sensitize parents on parental responsibility. We also sensitize them on their children's sexual and reproductive health. We speak on sexual and gender-based violence in the region as well. So when the parents are well informed, they will also take informed decisions in the lives of their children. So that is what we are doing. So we move on to establish clubs for the adolescent girls as well. 2021, we established about 21 clubs in, 21 clubs in, from 2019, 2020, 2021, we established 21 clubs or groups in the community level for the parents. And then last year too, we have established 11 clubs at the community level for the adolescent girls. We mentor them. We have mentorship programs where last year, even late last year, in November 7th, we brought about 80 adolescent girls or teenage girls to the central to Cape Coast to mentor them for 3 days. So we are doing this mentorship program, and also the school outreach. We go to senior high schools to speak to the adolescent boys, because we normally say who makes the adolescent girl pregnant. It is the men and boys. So we don't leave them out. We have clubs for them in the region as well at the community level. But we still go to senior high schools. Last year we were at the senior high school, went to Bisiansi Senior High School, we went to St. Marcus Senior High School. We brought the boys together and sensitized them. You know, some of them to our ignorance of the law. I don't know. I don't want to say they don't know what the law says about some of these things. So we try to spell out the law to them by we work with stakeholders. DOFSU, maybe start from DOFSU to the field to speak to them on these issues. We work with stakeholders. We go with Ghana Health Service to speak to these children about these issues. So that is what the department is doing. Besides that, we do media engagement. We speak to the general public about some of these things, the effects of early sex and other things. That is what we are doing. We are dealing seriously with, child marriage and cohabitation as well in the region.
Richlove, I'll have you hold and bring in Saadatu Ali, who is a research associate at the Africa Education Watch. She joins us also for this conversation. Saadatu, what has your research shown to be accounting for this surge in teenage pregnancy in the central region?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Saadatu, you are on JoyNews desk, and I'm finding out what your research has shown could be accounting for this surge in cases. Hello, Saadatu.
Hello.
All right, so let's try and fix Saadatu's line. She doesn't seem to be hearing what is going on. Hello, Saadatu. Let's try you once more. If you can hear me, I'm finding out from you what your research has outlined as causes for this, what is accounting for this rise in teenage pregnancy in the central region.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha, and good morning to your listeners. Can you hear me now, please?
Loud and clear.
Okay, all right, so thank you. For my research, we started researching into school pregnancies during the COVID lockdown. We did a research around the coastal areas in Ghana, and we realized that a lot of the girls are getting pregnant. When schools were partially open for the Form 2s and the Form 3s to go to school, we realized that of the 20% of the schools we went to had up to about 3 girls not coming to school because of pregnancy. And the key cause of teenage pregnancy among school-going age girls is poverty. Poverty is the underlying issue. So you have girls who come from poor households, having no means of acquiring their personal care items. So something as simple as a sanitary pad will cause a girl to have transactional sex so that she can acquire these things. And then there's also the issue of long distances. So there are communities that do not have JHS. So when the girls complete primary school, they have to travel long distances to go to JHS. And then from home to school, anything can happen. That's where they meet the men and then the boys that lure them and then have sex with them. And then there's also the issue of sexual violence, which also leads to pregnancy among school-going age children. So basically, that's what our research has. So poverty is the number one.
What recommendations do you have if we need to actually end this or minimize it?
Okay, so from the findings from our research, which began in 2020, made us start the advocacy. So from last year, we started advocating for a financial support policy for these girls because the underlying cause of teenage pregnancy is poverty. Okay, so if the girl is poor, and because of that, she's getting pregnant, and then what happens is that when they get pregnant due to poverty, it becomes even more difficult for them to go back to school due to the same pregnancy, due to the same poverty, because their situation becomes worsened, because now they have a child to feed, and then themselves. So we are advocating for a material support policy, like similar to the LEAP program, so that very poor pregnant girls or school mothers are identified, and then they are given financial support to go back to school and then continue and then complete the full course of basic and then secondary education. That's what we are doing. What we've done so far is that we've held 2 national convening, one in Accra and then one in Tamale. We have also engaged the Parliamentary Select Committee on this policy proposal, and work is still ongoing. We are preparing a report. We've reviewed GES's re-entry policy report, and we'll be launching it very, very soon. So that's what we've done.
I'm grateful for your time, Saadat Wali. Rich Love, if you're still there, how do you intend to factor in these recommendations just outlined by Saadat in your plan to help address the situation?
Okay, thank you. You know, the department, it's one of the departments under the sector ministry. And the Department of Gender, we exist to implement the gender components of the sector ministry. We normally work through education, you know, advocacy, and that is what we do. Well, she made mention of poverty. It is true. Children cannot, I don't see children as poor. I see the parents. That will be linked to the parents. But we know sometimes, this is what I tell parents, there are people, I know a lot of people who comes from very poor home, but today they are doctors, lawyers, MPs. It is the mindset of the parents. That is why we are working strongly on the minds of the parents, educating them. That, you know, I know even it's a crime, shedding your responsibilities in the Republic of Ghana, it's a crime. And we call something maintenance. When you give birth, you take care of the child. So it is the responsibilities of parents to take care of their what? Whatever situation you find yourself in, you can still find a way of getting something small to do. Today, education is free. And then we have the re-entry policy as well. So even by accidentally, when the child gets pregnant, we are saying that the child can still go back to school, depending on the parents and how the parents love. You know, that parent-child communication is not strong. If it is not strong, it is difficult for parents who comes from children who comes from good home to listen to their parents. But when the bond is there and the parent-child communication, PCC is there, then when the parents speak to their children that this is the situation we are in, we don't have money, we don't have this, but you can still make it in life. If they listen to their parents, they can do that. So we are saying, other NGOs, we want everybody on board. I want her to come to my office as well, so that we can collaborate and do something in the central region. We want everybody on board to come and help the department as well. If you think you can support financially so that we empower them financially, that is fine. When we had the mentorship, we brought someone to take them, Steadicom, to take them to saving culture. And then we also brought someone to teach them how to make liquid soap. That is skill training. So most of them left this thing. They are back to their communities, and I know they will start with that. And then they have learned saving culture, so they will start saving, and then they will help themselves with, sanitary pad. So that is what we are doing. The sanitary pad issues you made mention of, it's also another serious issue. But all the same, I always say all fingers or so are not equal. There are people who still use the traditional method to take care of themselves. There are people who are heavy flow, so they don't even use the sanitary pad if it is light.
Right.
So, yeah. So we still take them through the traditional method where we use the cloth. There is a way you can handle it that you may not be infected. Okay. So if parents don't have money, I'll use this platform to also speak to them that they can also use the traditional method for the children, so that at least these children can stay out of danger.
I'm grateful for your time. You just had the gender director of the Central Region. She's Rich Love. We can also call her Mama Awochu Adzagba II. I'm grateful for your time. Workers of the Ghana Meteorological Agency are on strike. They disengage from all services provided to the public and specific institutions, including the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. They will also not provide services to farmers, fishermen, road contractors, insurance companies, but the airports are likely to be hardest hit with the possibility of a shutdown. The workers are unhappy about poor conditions of service, which they say has not been addressed despite many engagements with the government over the situation.
We expect an open, frank, and honest discussion, where after the meeting, at least there will be an understanding of all the issues, and we can come out with a roadmap as to how we'll be able to deal with the issues that we've got. If that doesn't happen again, the union, National Union Executive, together with the staff, will meet again and we'll look at a next line of action. I can assure you that none of us is happy, to embark on a strike. And that is why we are saying, I'm saying that we are expecting a frank, open discussion. We are not saying that everything should be solved today, but there should be a clear understanding as to exactly what the issues are and how we want to treat the issues. So generally, the outcome of the meeting, whatever would come out of the meeting, would inform our next line of action. Right. We are looking at all considerations. We know it's a strain and a drain in the aviation sector when these things go on. We are very mindful of that. And we are hoping that at the end of this meeting, something fruitful will come up.
About how many are you? What is your number, your strength, numerical strength, I mean?
We are just around 300, about 320 or thereabouts.
Right. About 320 of you?
Yes, that is permanent staff, but we have a lot of voluntary staff who also pick up data for us, scattered all over the county.
Right. And so this affects them as well? These are the people you speak of?
Yes, it affects everyone. Because whatever we are doing is in the interest of the general staff.
We're still live on JoyNews desk, and still to come in this bulletin, Parliament is pushing for the swift resettlement of victims of the APRT explosion because of the impending rainy season. We'll tell you more shortly after this break. Welcome back to JoyNews desk. A trauma and orthopedic unit of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital is calling on corporate institutions to assist the unit acquire surgical equipment. For more than 1 year, the trauma and orthopedic unit of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital had only one C-arm image intensifier and 3 surgical drills to carry out surgical activities, a situation facility personnel describe as problematic as it causes surgeries to a halt. The unit is calling on corporate institutions to assist in the acquisition of surgical equipment. Mausi Numo has more in the following report.
The Korle Bu Teaching Hospital is the highest recipient of accident victims in the country. As part of its healthcare delivery services, the trauma and orthopedic unit manages numerous fractures as a result of the increasingly road accidents. Dr. Frederick Kwarting is the head of accident emergency and orthopedic department at the hospital. He explains to JoyNews how important these surgical equipment are to the facility.
We are in acute need of several equipment, especially for the orthopedic department. In addition to the need for drills, we are also in dire need of C-arm image intensifier. It's an X-ray equipment that are used to aid us in fixing fractures. Ours is broken down. The department is down and left with only one. Each theater is supposed to have one functioning C-arm image intensifier. And so we need corporate organizations to help us acquire this equipment so that we will be able to fix all the broken limbs quickly. In addition to that, we need patient monitors for the accident and emergency. These are equipment that are in dire need. And vital sign monitors are all needed to save life in the accident and emergency. We've been battling with the use of CM for over a year now. The department has been using only one CM for over a year now. Because, yes, for the 3 theaters, because all the others are broken down. And even this one that is functioning breaks down and brings surgeries to a halt for about 2 weeks. You can't do surgeries without it because it's an image-guided operation. And some of the patients lie down for 4 weeks because the CM is not working. And so we need it badly.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, has made a donation of 2 surgical drills worth 10,500 cedis to the facility. Director of Strategy and Corporate Services at GridCo, Kofi Okofudate, explains the rationale behind the donation.
As part of our corporate social responsibilities, we have healthcare provision very key. So occasionally we go around to the medical health centers, we have discussion and know where their critical needs are. So sometimes last year we had discussion with them and they made us aware that one of the critical needs is the medical drill. So as part of our corporate social responsibilities, we organize ourselves, and today we've come to present 2 sets of these medical drills to Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, specifically the Accidents and Emergency Ward.
The unit is optimistic it will continue to receive assistance from organizations to enable them to deliver quality health care. Mausi Numon's report read to you.
Parliament is pushing for the swift resettlement of victims of the APRT explosion. According to the MP for Pristiahuni Valley, Robert Wisdom Kujo, the onset of the rain season will further expose the plight of the victims who are currently being housed in tents. Delivering a statement on the floor of the House, he also questioned the absence of Maxam, the mining company allegedly cited for the explosion, in the support fund for the victims. Here are excerpts of what transpired on the floor of the House.
And the mattresses wet, which means water can easily seep through the tent and destroy their things. My issue here is that the rain pattern in Western region. It will soon start maybe by March. And I believe these people cannot continue to stay in this tent throughout the year. I believe that with the promises from other corporate institutions, the government, and then the fine slap on the company, that is Maxam Company Limited, I think we can put up permanent structures for these people within a year. Mr. Speaker, as the government, corporate Ghana, and individuals are making frantic efforts to support the victims of APRT to resettle, my observation as Member of Parliament for the area indicate that Maxam Ghana Company Limited, which caused the explosion, is conspicuously missing in the action with regard to management and support to the victims. Thankfully, Mr. Speaker, a press released by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources on 7th February 2022 indicates that the government has imposed a fine of 6 million Ghana cedis, $6 million US, or equivalent at the prevailing commercial rate on Maxam Company Limited for regulatory breaches. I have no doubt whatsoever that in the computation of the fine, the rebuilding of APRT, compensation to victims, and restitution of all lost properties were taken into consideration. Mr. Speaker, I want also to take this opportunity to call or to draw the attention of Ghana Police Service to its press statement dated 21st January 2022, when the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, visited the disaster site to effect that the driver of the escort vehicle assisted the community members to move children of APRT Basic School to a safe zone is inaccurate. It must be stated that there is no existing school at APRT per Ghana Education Service records, and the escort driver couldn't have vacated school children in the community. As a representative of the people in that area, I wish to urge the police administration to retract and render unqualified apology to the chief and the good people of Pristiahuni Valley for that matter, the victims of APRT disaster.
Mr. Speaker, this was a scary thing. But then, it is a lesson that we must learn as a country, that all measures must be put in place to ensure that such a disaster never happens in the history of this country or the entire world. The Maker of the Speaker drew our attention to the current state of affairs at the camp. This is a situation where we have people of 20, 30, 40 people in a tent. And Mr. Speaker, we know that the Western region is a place that when the rain starts to come in, it rains heavily. My worry is that if measures are not put in place, if the promise of resettling these people, the promise of putting up accommodations are not pursued, and the rains set in, Mr. Speaker, you can imagine the difficulties, the problems, the hardship our fellow Ghanaians would go through.
Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement mentioned the current situation, which includes housing the people in tents. I mean, all of us know that tents, by their very nature, are very temporary housing facilities. But when you think about the impending rainy season, which is set to begin any time from now, I think it poses a little bit of a worrying problem. And I will want to add my voice to urge government to speed up with the effort to find permanent housing for the people of APRT so that they are not needlessly exposed to the vagaries of the weather.
The private commercial transport operators have indicated that effective today, 18th February, transport fares will be increased by 30%. According to the group, this decision has been taken to save transport businesses from collapsing with the frequent upward adjustments in fuel prices. Fuel prices are up yet again, with some oil marketing companies selling products at nearly 8 cedis. Charles Danso is chairman of the Committed Drivers Association. He's joined us via phone for more. Mr. Danso, I'm grateful for your time. You have indicated that you would increase transport fares. Is it happening today?
Yes, it's happening.
Okay, so how much are you increasing your fares? I mean, with what percentage?
It's 30%.
30%?
Yeah.
So if I go
Will you allow me to indicate how we calculate the 30%?
Go ahead.
Okay. You pick your calculator and then by
okay, I have my calculator.
130 divided by 100.
Okay.
Now you multiply it by the old fare. So let's say 2 cedi. How much is that? It's 2 cedi, 60 pesos.
So now if I used to pay 2 cedis, now I'll pay 4 cedi, 60 pesos.
2 cedi, 60 pesos.
Okay, so now it's 2 cedi, 60 pesos.
Yeah, so 60 pesos has been added.
Isn't that rather on the higher side? Because I remember when this 30% came up, this conversation came up, we're told that you've not been actually giving approval by the Transport Ministry to go ahead and charge this 30%.
My dear lady, if you could recall, whenever you call, everybody says there is a conversion, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the transport operator do meet Ministry for approval of transport fares, isn't it? So let's assume, it is being assumed that whenever the fuel component or the fuel prices hit 10%, it's being increased. And the other time we increased lorry fare, it was 13%, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now we have 32% on fuel now. Since the time we increased lorry fare. So if, let's assume it's 13%, 30%, how much will it be? Is it not 39%? And we see the need and the hardship in this country, and we see 30%. So what should we do again? Day in, day out, they are increasing fuel prices. Even yesterday, it jumped to 36 cedis per gallon. Whereas the time we increased lorry fares, it was 26 cedis. So 10 cedi difference. Who should bear it?
So
are we not trading? So please, the public should understand us and then pay. Because we can't be using basket to fetch water all the time like this.
Right. So has the GPRTU actually agreed to this 30% you're charging, or you're not part of the GPRTU?
One, we are not part of the GPRTU, but we formed a coalition. And it is about 17 unions and associations who formed that coalition. Do you remember that tremor at December 6th? The driver strike. I always call it a tremor because it's not an earthquake, because it didn't go all over the country. Did you remember that? After that, the coalition selected some 3 wise men. Abbas Ibrahim Moro of GPRTU is one. Ibrahim Musa of JAP2 is one. And then Edward Hoffman from Cooperative is one. They went round to collate and then bring a percentage for us to implement. And it was 30% they brought it. So why are they sitting on the 30%? And since we brought that 30% at the meeting, they've increased about twice in the on the fuel. Everything is going up. So why should you keep drivers in limbo like this? So we've increased it. And if GPRTU says no, they should either put white cloth or red cloth on their car, so that everybody will know this is GPRTU car, so that if they are going to take it, they haven't increased it. They should do that for us.
So you can confirm that the 17 people who make up your group are going to start charging the 30% from today?
We are starting.
All right. I'm grateful for your time, Charles Danso. He's chairman of the Ghana Committed Drivers Association. He says they are going all out to charge 30% on transport fares, and he's challenging the GPRTU. If they are not ready, or if they are backing down on the 30%, then they should actually indicate on their vehicles so people will know that difference. Let's take a break. When we return, we have updates from the business world. Welcome back. Time now for business. The Ghana Stock Exchange will be embarking on a project to get the youth to embrace investments on the local bourse. The move is part of initiatives by the exchange to boost activities on the market and also attract young investors. Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Ekwa Feji, has been explaining to Joy Business.
I'm very passionate about how we can get our youth to get educated about their future in terms of investments and entrepreneurial skills and all those things. You cannot wait for government to create employment for everybody. It's important that we inculcate the savings habit when they are young. Then they can move on to investments. So what we plan to do is to use the online and use the various media options around, and together with the Ghana Securities Industry Association, we'll be working together to make sure that we can carry on some long-term educational programs. And like you said, we shouldn't target just the university graduates or students, but also those in the informal sector. It's important that we develop that habit because you can't bet forever in your life. You can make some money through betting, but is that the way you want to live your life? We need to invest for the future. The only way we can have a prosperous future is to invest. That is why I always believe we must encourage them when they're even in primary school. When the parent gives that child money, teach that child how to save a little of that money. And some children do it. So by the time they even get to university, they have a lot of savings. Parents should open accounts for their children. By the time they get to 18, you can pass over those accounts to that. Nobody is saying start with any big money, but just to inculcate that habit of savings and investments. Look at the Chinese, the Indians, and all those countries. They all have higher savings rates. Somebody will say we are poor. We haven't got into those economies. I understand.
The Ghana Revenue Authority is poised to leverage digitization to achieve the 80.3 million Ghana cedis revenue target for 2022. The GRA Commissioner General Amishadai also Amua said several innovative ideas have been tabled to be executed in the year aimed at expanding the country's revenue mobilization system. He said this at the GRA 2022 Management Retreat at the Volta Serene Hotel in Ho.
The Ghana Revenue Authority Commissioner General Amishadai Owusu Amwa indicated that the digitization drive for domestic tax and customs division will continue unabated, where the next phase of e-coms and the taxpayer portal would be deployed. He highlighted the piloting of e-commerce, gaming and bet taxes, among other strategies to enhance revenue mobilization.
We will, once we get the approval from Parliament, implement the e-levy, and we will carry out massive education and Ghana supports as much as possible to ensure that it is successful in the country. We are also conscious of the VAT, and I've also heard people talk about that. And I also want to announce that by 1st April, we will start piloting electronic VAT, or electronic invoicing. And we have already selected a number of taxpayers, about 100 of them, who will be part of the piloting.
The Deputy Finance Minister, Abena Osei Asari, entreated the GRA to undertake staff capacity building and leverage digital space to achieve revenue targets.
The exigencies of our current situation, high youth unemployment, limited fiscal space, and a global pandemic, demand our Revenue Authority is well positioned to deliver prompt, convenient, and responsive service of the highest quality. To do this, we believe that these two fundamental principles must guide you. One is empowering our GRA staff to work to high standards and full accountability. And then two is leveraging digital tools to realize operational efficiencies. I believe these principles will cause a fundamental shift in the perception of GRA staff.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Ashibod Lecha, implored GRA to explore all measures towards attaining the Ghana Beyond Aid mantra.
As we all know, economies the world over have not been the same since COVID-19 appeared. In spite of these challenges, we are determined as a country to be self-reliant without heavily relying on the continuous support from the World Bank, IMF, and other donor partners. For government to attain its goal of Ghana Beyond Aid, the authority must use means to mobilize the needed revenue to fund the provision of infrastructure such as hospitals, portable water, and all other amenities needed to make the lives of our citizens better.
Fred Kwame Asai, JoyNews. Oh.
It's time now for some tech tips. And Spike Nkrumah is here. Hi, Spikey.
Hello.
Always good to see you.
Always good to see you too.
So what is Snapchat bringing up this time round?
So, you know, all these social media platforms have to make money some way or the other. I mean, they're free. We're all using them, enjoying them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you wonder how are these guys making money. I mean, with Facebook and all the rest, we know they're making money through ads. And Snapchat is now going to start putting ads in creator stories. So if you create content on Snapchat, there's going to be ads, and Snapchat plans to share revenue with you. Those who are creating, you know, stories and people are viewing. Now, if they put ads in there and they make money, they will share revenue with you, just like YouTube does, just like Facebook does, just to encourage you, to incentivize all the creators to do more, and to also basically attract more creators to the platform. Another feature they're also introducing is now you can change your username on Snapchat very soon.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, prior to now, you couldn't change your username. You're stuck with what you chose. So if you want a new one, you have to create a new one. Yes, but now they're going to let you be able to change.
You can still use what you have, but you can change.
Change it, exactly.
Okay. So I'm more interested in the revenue generation.
Yes.
So if I create the content and then how do I get my share of the money?
So just like all these other creator platforms where you create content and put, there will be an avenue for you to see how much revenue you're generating based on the number of views, based on the number of interactions, and based on the number of ads and how much the platform is making from the ads. So let's say if 5 advertisers come and pay money to have their content on your channel, they would give you a percentage of that, depending on how many views. It's usually a cost per 1,000 views or cost per click, you know. So if someone sees the ad, how much you will get, and if someone engages with the ad, how much you will get.
Okay, that sounds quite good. Have you started already, Spikey?
I don't know, a Snapchat person. I think it's more for the millennials. I'm a YouTube person. YouTube, yeah.
And so you get a lot of money there, right?
Do I? I don't.
He doesn't want to disclose that, but I think it's a good thing on Snapchat.
Yeah, it is.
Mostly, I think mostly ladies will get money because they like to use Snapchat. I don't want to mention names. I know a few ladies here who do that. So it's good for you. You can make some money. And thanks so much for bringing us tech tips. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. That's how we wrap up Joy News Desk. Let's meet again at midday.